Welcome in right here on SportsGrid. It's Pro Football Today. We are seeing if the Giants can capitalize out in Germany, and we're figuring out with the NFL trade deadline delivered. To do that, it's NFL insider Adam Caplan. Cap, appreciate you stopping by here. Got to start with the big move in Washington. Marshon Lattimore joins the Commanders. Won't make his debut today, maybe Thursday in a big one against the Philadelphia Eagles. Tell us what went into that, all for Washington.
Yeah, so Kevin, as I talked about last Sunday before this trade, that they were in on, believe it or not, some really good young corners. J.C. Horn, I'm told they actually looked into his availability. They were told he's not available. Anyone who called the Panthers for J.C. Horn, they were told not going to happen. He's playing today, of course, overseas. But they got Marshon Lattimore. Now, they gave up a lot. They gave up 3 draft picks. They got one back plus Lattimore. Lattimore, as I told Pharrell on Thursday, would not play. They knew this when the trade happened because he's had this hamstring problem, Kevin. If you really look at his entire career, there's been one issue. It's hamstring issues, strains, setbacks, and so forth. So you got to be careful. Now, you mentioned the short week. They're not willing to say that he's going to play this week. Because what happens is on Monday, they'll have a walkthrough. Tuesday, they have a walkthrough. It's a longer walkthrough Tuesday. Then the day before the game, walkthrough before they take the train to Philly. So that's a tough order on a short week. But if he's available, it's going to help them play more man coverage. This is a big thing for them. But the other thing that I thought they might get done, I know other people around the league thought this would happen, is that they would add some help at receiver, which they didn't get opposite Terry McLaurin. McLaurin needs help opposite him. There's no question about it. They've tried a bunch of players. Olamide Zaccheaus, who was with the Eagles last season. But McLaurin's a stud. He needs help there. Zach Ertz, that's why for fantasy he's been so good, because they're looking for another passing option. So bottom line is this absolutely helps them. But the one issue on offense is at receiver. You look at their schedule, by the way. The over-under totals 11.5. The over's plus 110. The under's minus 130. I probably would still like the over, guys, only because their schedule is so good, which, by the way, it's had one of the best in the National Football League so far.
Let's talk about some of the front dogs here in the NFC, and comes right from the NFC North. That is the Detroit Lions. Aiden Hutchinson was absolutely, pulverizing quarterbacks early in the season. He goes out for the year. They make a move for Zadarius Smith. Talk to me on that move, and also, was Detroit in on any bigger fish, let's just say one of those guys in Cleveland?
Yeah, I would say this with Zadarius Smith. He'll help them. There's no question about that, because, and you mentioned Hutchinson, they're going to get Zach Pascal, who's basically Josh Pascal. I'm sorry. Josh Pascal's an edge rusher who had been filling in for Hutchinson. He missed the previous 2 games due to an illness. He will be back today. But Zadarius Smith is a proven pass rusher in the twilight of his career. You get him in there, and you get him probably half the snaps or so at that edge rushing position. That's going to help them. They're really good at corner. Remember last year, the thing that kept them from the Super Bowl was the cornerback position. They solved that issue through the draft and free agency with the trade for Carlton Davis coming over from the Buccaneers, so they feel pretty good about that. The win total, Donnie, 12.5. The over is 165. I like the over still. Their schedule, it's hard. I mean, when you look at it, 5 quality opponents left. The under's plus 135. They're going to get 13 to 14 wins. For my money, okay, they're the best team in the National Football League, those Detroit Lions. Yes, those Lions.
Cap, let's look at the Steelers and Commanders right now. Steelers add Mike Williams. They also add Preston Smith, and they get Cam Sutton coming back from an 8-game suspension. How important is that moving forward? I think Mike Williams will have a huge impact today.
Yeah, Joe, we've talked about this on Pro Football Today probably the last 3 weeks. I kept telling people it's going to happen, and it finally happened the day of the trade deadline. So what they wanted is someone who they could plug and play. He's going to play opposite George Pickens. Mike Williams, Joe, is a deep threat. He's physical. He's tough. He can run. That really helps them. They still have issues in terms of depth at receiver, but getting Mike Williams, a big-time wide receiver, is going to help them. He didn't have a role with the Jets, as we know, so the Jets were willing to trade him. Now, when you look at Cam Sutton, I do want to talk about this. Getting Cam Sutton in there off of his 8-game suspension now, he could be their nickel defender, where they struggled. That was one area that they struggled. Dante Jackson's an outside corner, who's really good. Joey Porter Jr. is really good on the outside. So you get Cam Sutton, who'll be their nickel defender. That really helps them. And getting Preston Smith, here's why that they made this trade. Yes, he went on record saying he wanted to be traded, but from a Steelers standpoint, they've had injury issues. Nick Herbig will not play today, who's their third edge rusher due to a hamstring problem. We know T.J. Watt missed time last year. this gives them supreme depth. Right now, folks, they can make a run for this AFC. And you really, when you look at their situation to win the AFC North, these are really good numbers. They are plus 220. Everybody's on the Ravens. Why not the Steelers?
Well, maybe because people don't believe in Russell Wilson at the level they believe in Lamar
Steelers,
Jackson.
Steelers get it done.
Maybe maybe time will tell. Cap, I want to ask you about the Dallas Cowboys, who are always in the news, but this season it's rarely been for the reasons that you want. The combination of Dak Prescott potentially being shut down while trading for Jonathan Mingo on Tuesday. What are you hearing around the Dallas Cowboys?
All right, so here's why they trade for Mingo. Mingo's got past this season, 2 years left on his contract. This guy was drafted, talking to the Panthers, to be their ex-receiver. It's typically the guy who's your number one receiver, right? It didn't work out. He's one of these guys that say body beautiful but doesn't play up to it. So Dan Morgan, the GM of the Panthers, he was looking to move him. That was the word around the league. So he moved him. And he's going to get a chance here because, remember, with the Cowboys, Brandon Cooks remains on IR after his knee surgery. CeeDee Lamb's going to play with his sprained shoulder. This is a good chance to sort of see what Jonathan Mingo has the rest of the season. It didn't really cost him very much. Depth was an issue for them. And really, when you look at it, it's a guy's got talent. He was a second-round pick. And this is a guy that that someone needs to develop. It's going to be the Cowboys. And Cooper Rush today, by the way, 4-1 as a starter. His one loss, it was terrible against the Eagles 2 years ago where he threw 3 picks, 2 to C.J. Gardner-Johnson and 1 to Darius Slay. So both are still with the Eagles, and that does not bode well. And by the way, today for the Eagles, all 53 players on their roster are going to be available. So they're getting Dallas Goedert back today and Darius Slay.
Big-time matchup on Thursday night between Washington and Philadelphia coming up. But I also want to take a look at another NFC team here. We talk about injuries. How about guys coming back from injuries? Christian McCaffrey of the San Francisco 49ers activated and will play today. What's the prognosis for him, Cat, moving forward? Do they expect a full go for him today?
Yeah, I'm not expecting, one thing, Donnie, Kyle Shanahan, just like his dad, Mike, he doesn't really believe in limiting his running backs. He looked really good in practice, I was told, the last 2 weeks. Like he worked out for them last week. During their bye, and they're like, okay, he's ready to go, and he had a great week of practice. Now, is he going to get every touch? No. They've got Isaac Guerrero, the outstanding rookie from Louisville, who did a good job filling in a couple weeks ago, and obviously Jordan Mason has been a revelation as an undrafted free agent. But I expect a big game from him, no question about it. I expect McCaffrey to have a solid game today. Not only in the run game, though, guys, in the pass game, that's kind of where they've missed him. They don't really throw to the backs without McCaffrey, so that'll be back today. There's no question about it. And for the Bucs, look, guys, their secondary struggling. Give Baker Mayfield credit also on offense. Despite the problems at receiver with 2 studs down, he's gotten the job done. They really should have beaten the Chiefs. They dominated for 3 quarters last week. It's a shame.
Cap, quickly, before we get you out of here, the Giants right now, they just got a turnover, so maybe they'll kind of salvage this game here against Carolina. But could you see a loss being the final game that Daniel Jones starts in a Giants uniform?
Not yet, because here's the thing, and I know where you're going because you've had your issues with Daniel Jones, as Kevin, as we've talked.
Oh, he's terrible.
In the last 2 or 3 years. Drew Lock he's not a developmental quarterback, and we know who Tommy DeVito is. Yes, they're out of the playoff race. We know this. But at some point, yes, I do expect to see Drew Lock. But to say he's not going to play again, Daniel Jones, no, I don't see it that way. By the way, they're a little bit more competitive today than probably most people thought.
The Carolina is more competitive today, you're saying?
No,
than most people thought?
Giants are hanging. No, the Giants are actually hanging in there a little bit. I thought they'd get blown out, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Look at that.
They were a 6.5-point favorite.
Take the dogs, Cap.
See, I didn't see it that way. I thought the line was wrong, to be honest with you. And I give Carolina credit. But the bottom line is this has been an awesome game. But and the play, though, by the way, today, the play was the under because neither team scores very much.
Yeah, well, we'll see if the Giants can take the lead. It's a fun one to follow, Cap. We appreciate it. As always, we've got the Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao, on deck here on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in the set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orji as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
With you on SportsGrid, Kevin Walsh, Donnie Rightside, and Joe Lisi. We are now joined by the Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao, and he and the folks at SixScore.com have been having a heck of a season, so head over to SixScore.com/picks, promo code SportsGrid, get in there, free week of sick picks. Doc, how are we feeling? It's been a fun NFL season.
It has been a fun NFL season, and I don't mind these early morning games. It's 6:30 kickoff for me. I watch that from home and come in at halftime to the war room here. And we've got another guaranteed pick this week, too. And we've been actually, thankfully, undefeated so far on this.
Wow.
How about that? Very, very interesting, and even more reason than to sign up over there at SixScore.com. Doc, let's start with a big game between the Eagles and the Cowboys, where it loses some of its juice due to the injuries, but that's why for you with us here, it's one of the most important on the slate. What can you tell us not only about Dak's outlook, but what everything looks like in-game for this one?
Look, Dak not being placed on IR right now is no big deal because he's going to miss more than 4 weeks. They're doing him the courtesy to get all the second opinions. It's a hamstring tendon injury. Those are different than hamstring muscle. Surgery is on the table and likely, and he's going to miss 6 weeks or so, which means essentially his season is done unless the Cowboys stay alive with Cooper Rush, which they did last time. The bigger deal for Dallas is, besides no run game, and obviously it's Cooper Rush, and he's certainly not horrible, is defense. They've got DB problems still, and Micah Parsons at least can return this week, but we're not sure that he's going to be 100%. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, you got A.J. Brown back healthy, Dallas Goedert back healthy. Malott is sort of the only one. Even Darius Slay is back for the Eagles.
Yeah, Doc, curious for you, an interesting moment earlier this week where Sirianni accidentally, whatever it is, lets us know about a Jalen Hurts ankle injury. I'm curious twofold there. One, how teams handle rest versus, no, he actually is not feeling great. And then how you guys go, do we have to go back and double-check the film and figure out where this ankle injury appeared?
We do that all the time. We go back based on information and look at film and see what's happening. But let me let you in on a little secret. It shouldn't be a secret. Do you honestly think NFL owners hire 5 athletic trainers, a physical therapist or 2, travel with 3 doctors, and there's only 6 people on the injury report list? Give me a break. We're week 10 of the season. 85% is a good week. 3/4 of the team comes in for treatment during the week. They're not all on the injury report. Now, when it's your quarterback, the NFL cares a little more, right? This is why even the quarterback position, you have to specify side, like Trevor Lawrence, left shoulder, not right shoulder. But this is fairly routine for a lot of players. But because it's Jalen Hurts, you're going to get a lot of attention on it.
Doc, Tampa Bay Bucks, San Francisco 49ers, talking about a lot of attention. That's Christian McCaffrey back in the lineup today. What can we expect from Christian McCaffrey, health and moving forward?
Well, your SportsGrid viewers know this, that we've said since September it would be November for Christian McCaffrey, and it's November, so here we go. He is back. He is 100%, quote, healthy on the Achilles tendonitis. But what the 49ers have to be careful of is early season acclimation muscle injuries for CMC. This is early season for CMC. You can't run him into the ground and all of a sudden get a hamstring or a calf or a quad or whatever it is. And obviously this started as a calf and then became an Achilles tendonitis on both sides. So this is why I don't see him playing 70 snaps. Jordan Mason's healthy from his AC joint coming off the bye. The 49ers are rested coming off a bye. I see a share here. Maybe CMC gets all third down snaps, but I don't think he's the only runner today.
Doc, let me ask you one more quick question about the San Francisco 49ers. Deebo Samuel, oblique injury. Any concerns for him today?
Not really. He's going to go and be able to play through coming off the bye week, et cetera. He should be good to go.
Doc, divisional matchup, Atlanta and New Orleans. New Orleans with a 6 score of 77. Atlanta, the much healthier team at 90. I mean, New Orleans, there are multiple wide receivers banged up, but most important is Chris Olave. So how do you see it in regards to the injury perspective for New Orleans today?
From the War Room last Sunday, we said Chris Olave's season may be over. He's at least injured reserve, 2 concussions in 2 weeks, 2 weeks apart. And he's headed to IR. And, you know, the Saints at 2-7, are they even going to be relevant when he's healthy again? I think his season is likely done. But here's the matchup between Atlanta and New Orleans. New Orleans pass catchers, Olave, Shaheed, et cetera, no good, no go. Meanwhile, Atlanta, Drake London, hip pointer playing, Kyle Pitts, hamstring playing, and the offensive line the same. Atlanta's getting offensive linemen back, and New Orleans is losing offensive linemen. So it's a big health mismatch.
And Darren Rizzi's the new coach, right? Interim basis for New Orleans. Does that change the protocol internally where medically anything changes?
I don't think it changes the medical protocol. I get a lot of bettors say that there's a bounce after you change a head coach. I think that's only true if the head coach was disliked. I'm not sure Dennis Allen was disliked. So make of it for what you will.
Doc, quickly, before we get you out of here again, always a few interesting spots for us to follow. Caleb Williams looked a little banged up at the end of that game between the Bears and the Arizona Cardinals. This week playing New England, their offensive line, I know there were a few names out there. I don't know how many important. How do you feel about Chicago's offense, who desperately needs to get right heading into their game with New England?
Well, Caleb Williams was hurt, not injured. He'll be fine. It's the offensive line for the Bears that are concerned. New England was among the most injured teams throughout the season, but the last 3 weeks, they've had an 8-point, what we call delta, getting healthier. Look, the Bears need to win this game because they have a monster schedule ahead of them. And this little smoke will become a full 4-alarm fire real quickly if they can't win this game. But you know, New England's getting healthier, and Chicago's a little bit banged up. So we'll see what happens with Eberflus.
We certainly will. And again, all of that information, you head over to sixscore.com and get everything that you need. Sixscore.com/picks. Promo code SportsGrid will get you a free week of sick picks. Another guaranteed pick is out there. Doc, we wish you guys the best and appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, great stuff as always there from the Pro Football Doc. Dr. David Chao. A little Sell Me Something is next.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orgy as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Tell me something time here on SportsGrid. We've got 3 for you. I think last week I left them with like a Bryce Young to throw for around 275.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Ugh.
He is on his way, though, to potentially a second consecutive victory here, though, Lisi.
Yes, he is. 275, and I backed it up with the Sell Me Something. 3 touchdowns at like 14-1.
Oh, we should have had them together.
I put it together. I parlayed it.
He did.
Yeah, no shot.
No.
None.
But a win.
Got hot, though. It was hot to start.
Yeah, it was hot. There were points in that. So maybe we could get it going today. What? Did you see what I have for the Sell Me Something?
No, I'm just looking at Daniel Jones and Bryce Young's numbers today. Just exactly what you thought they would be.
Through their numbers on parlays?
No, see, again, I told you, like, I was going Daniel Jones 175 plus, knowing that he was going against this terrible defense. And he's like, nope, Donnie, I'm going to disappoint everybody once again. No touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Yeah, but again,
Jones.
second game in a row not in a row. They played Pittsburgh, but game on the line, potential to tie it up or take the lead, and Daniel Jones throws a pick. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah,
great job.
We're going
great
OT.
job. Marquis.
You got a number for OT on this game, Joe? Come on, we're going.
No, I can't, Donnie. That's
we're going.
Having to watch this potentially into the 1 o'clock
Plus
window.
550. It's actually a pretty good number.
Yeah, we've seen better. We've had better.
I don't think we have.
920. 920.
Yeah, but that was with like 6 possessions. You're looking at 1 possession.
All you need is a bad team to get a field goal against a bad defense.
It was like 7-1 with the Tampa Bay game.
Was it that late, though?
Yeah, there was like 3 minutes.
Yeah, but you needed a team to drive the length of the field, score a touchdown, not go for 2. Like the Giants are just going to play for a field goal.
The Giants, though, they got no shot.
All right. Tell me something here, Lisi. Give us something with no shot.
Well, one of your best bets is the total, right? In terms of the Titans and L.A. Chargers, right? Mayo boy, we see Mayo boy Will Levis getting the start. Not 200, not 2.25. How about 250? Can I sell you on that at plus 450? What do you think about that? Points. He'll be eating the Mayo, Donnie.
Does he finish the game is a question. Jim Harbaugh's got some things
throwing
up
on the sidelines.
Could be, man.
If he throws for 250.
The mayonnaise. That is something on that. For 250 for Will Levis, plus 450 price, though, against a Harbaugh D. I have to do some selling on this. I'll tell you, I'm disappointed in my Sell Me Something a little bit because I actually like this play. I'm not supposed to like it at all.
Right.
But I had to use it because I have to share the unique information with the people out here. Saquon Barkley, obviously the lead dog for the Philadelphia Eagles. But the Eagles understand Thursday Night Football, you can't run Saquon 30-plus times in this game. You just can't do it, even if you have the lead. Kenneth Gainwell, hear me out. If he can get 4 rushes today, His total, over 12.5, he gets it done. That's all I'm looking for.
I like it. You'll get me in. That'll be in case the bets don't come in at 1 o'clock. We have a bailout.
I got your back.
Got my total for the day, and Donnie's sell me something.
I think, Don, if you want to angle it, is last week he had 5 carries.
Yes.
And you did not get through this number.
Yeah, but no. But see, the importance comes to rise to the occasion. We get 4 carries today against that bad defense.
We
run through it.
It is one of my favorite / least favorite things you do. Is you'll be like, look, I got 4 carries. No way I lose this.
No way.
And for the most recent data point to be 5 carries for a losing number,
it's called looking at the game optimistically outside the X and the numbers. Travis Hunter yesterday, I'm not looking at it. I have no idea what his yards on the season. You know what? Theon's getting that guy in the end zone. He gets him in the end zone.
Only 99 yards, though. Struggled, if you ask me. Didn't get 100 plus.
100.5 was his prop.
How about them Red Raiders covering the 14.5?
That wasn't the spread. No, you absolutely no credit for that.
14.5.
They were getting 4.5.
Yeah.
It's covering 14.5.
Cover right through the number.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, right. The old DRS number. Here we go. Optimistic view. I don't need the optimistic view. I need the honest view. All teams in the 4 o'clock window to score a rushing touchdown. 17-1. 3 games, 6 teams. Cowboys, Eagles, Titans, Chargers, Cardinals, Jets. Go ahead, Donnie. Who's the trip-up spot?
4th and goal, Rico Dowdle gets it, doesn't get in the end zone. Everybody else gets multiple rushing touchdowns.
You think Tennessee
Rico Dowdle holds it up.
Against the Chargers? I think that would be the one that's a little...
My history in Pollard's pretty good, so I'm looking at Rico Dowdle right now.
So you think Dallas is where it
I think
falls
it's Dallas
apart.
that falls apart on that.
Imagine if it was the Eagles.
Nah, Gainwell got it. Gainwell might start.
I got a death stare. That's what...
Yes.
Some performance,
really. Yeah, really good one.
Interesting.
I'm not allowed to stir the pot.
Stir the pot.
No, you're allowed, but you have to deal with the results of when the pot is stirred.
Exactly.
Well, no. That will not be sold. Let's try it again, Lisi. You sure you don't want overtime in this game?
No, I don't.
Where we at? Where's we at the ball at, by the way?
They're on the 30.
34.
Daniel Jones.
2-minute warning.
Yeah, guaranteed this is a Daniel Jones
I'd be stunned if they don't get a field goal up.
Yeah, they got no shot. None.
All right,
there you go.
We're going.
No shot, Lisi, calling it. He said it, not you. He said it. That's right. He said it. We'll take a break and come back. It's whip around time on Pro Football Today.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Don?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take the room.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions. Once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orji as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
fine, but distractions are
Come on, Giants.
are all around here.
Come on.
We watched the
Love to see
Daniel
it.
Jones furious
Love
comeback.
He heard me.
Minus 125 Carolina. You want to jump?
I still think they're going to blow it somehow, some way.
5-1, Joe, still on the board for
Nah. There's going to be like not to put the kibosh on it, but there'll be like a drop snap. He'll feel the pressure. Here it is.
Ooh.
It was close.
6-6.
It was close. Or the kicker will watch the plant foot on the kicker will slip.
Do you just kick it here or you keep throwing?
No, they'll probably kick it here.
Yeah, you got Daniel Jones. You should kick it with like
This
61
kicker,
yards.
and it's loose turf, so watch
Oh,
this.
look at it. What
Plant
was that
foot,
move
whoop.
over there?
All right, let's mix a game in.
Confident.
Let's mix a game in here, whip around style. Bears are laying 6.5 to the Pats. Total's 37.5 on the Chicago team total over 22.5. First game in over a month that they'll play at home. Perfect spot to get right for a team that is unbeaten at home this season and has scored over this 22.5 marker in all their home games. A Pats defense that just does not have the talent to hang here. I'm going over team total Bears 22.5.
Yeah, it's a good look. We talk about it after the performance in Arizona. 3 straight field goals. They get held to 9 points. You need a breakout effort. This is a team to do it against in terms of New England. I lean to Chicago, but I like the over the 37.5, 38. I think you get a lot of points, potentially turnovers against Drake May, especially playing at home. I think Chicago can put up some points, and I think 37.5 is the best option. Don't like the props in the
focused Chicago Bears team for me today. I think they were able to win this game by a touchdown or more, and I like Kevin's over 22. I think this is a really good chance at home to finally get out. And also, we're talking about November in Chicago. It's not like we're 25 degrees with wind whipping around. You should be able to score. And also Drake May, from Joe's perspective, I do actually think that he's going to be boom or bust, which is a good thing. Over 37.5, I think makes sense.
All right, how about the Colts and the Bills here with the 4.5-point number on Buffalo, but a banged-up Bills offense without Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper will look to get the job done on the road ahead of a matchup with KC next week here. Total 46.5, Joe.
Yeah, so I like the points with the Colts at home after that pathetic performance on Sunday night. I think they run Jonathan Taylor, have to take the pressure off of Joe Flacco. He can't be in the pocket against the Bills front seven. Do like A.D. Mitchell to step up. He's got a 31.5 number. Did take him through that total. But I lean to the under. I think this game is trending to the under because of Jonathan Taylor. Rushing attack, that means time. Keep Josh Allen on the sidelines, Donnie.
I'm with it, taking the points here, plus 4.5. But also keep in mind, 2 back-to-back tough games. At Minnesota, a tough one there. Didn't have a great showing for Joe Flacco. He is getting another tough game against the Buffalo Bills. But he's a veteran guy. They lose this game, I think they might be starting to look back to Anthony Richardson, which I guess was always the plan per se. But I do expect them to hang around and be within the number. 46.5, I'll leave that alone.
I don't know if there ever was a plan. I don't know. The more you watch it play out, they seem to be guessing here a little. Same with the Giants, by the way. They don't seem to have much of a plan.
Are they going for on 3rd and 7?
No.
I
banged up.
Assuming they are telling him, step back, haul it out of bounds, just take up a little bit more time, I guess is the thought.
But why, though? You kick a field goal, it's 5 or 6 seconds. Like, you're worried about giving him the ball back.
You actually should, because here's why. On 3rd and 7, if you got a bad snap, can you throw it out or is the drive over?
No. As long as you don't try the kick.
Yeah.
If the bad snap, you can fall down, but then the game will be over.
No, but I'm saying if you're able to pick it up and the guy's able to throw it out, I'm telling you, they just did. Maybe, honestly, Dale's like, I need to lower this kid's completion percentage even more to make it look more impressive.
Oh, my goodness.
We're waiting for that field goal. Let's get Vikings-Jaguars on the board here. Touchdown line for the road favorite Vikings due to the fact that it's going to be Mac Jones in this game. Totals 42.5. I do lean Jaguars. I do. I shouldn't. I haven't bet them. I hope I end up regretting that because I'd love to see the Jags pull off this upset for some other tickets involving, win totals and things like that. But I think I should be getting more since it's Mac Jones, and I'm just not getting enough.
The fact that it's 7, I would take a shot on Jacksonville now. But I do like the over, down from 43.5, 42.5. We saw Justin Jefferson and that offense eat with Sam Darnold. Hawkinson, I know you like him for a touchdown at 3-1. I altered T.J. Hawkinson up to 50 and 60 at plus money. On the flip side, I did take a shot now with Mac Jones. Brian Thomas has great value, 48.5. Is his number, Donnie, did alt him to 60+.
Yeah, if I'm looking at this game optimistically for a Vikings win, yes, absolutely. Do I want to lay the 7? Not necessarily, but we're picking games and sides. You see the graphic at 6.5. That's glorious. I would take that in a heartbeat. Look at that total, 42.5. I actually think that stays under. The reason being, You have a very good defense in Minnesota, and I just don't trust Mac Jones wherever he is. Yeah. So give me Minnesota.
Yeah, I do think that both Hawkinson and Justin Jefferson finding the end zone is totally in play. I worry a little bit about the Vikings in this spot. It's a sleepy spot. It's a letdown spot. We see it happen throughout the National Football League. Giants make the field goal, so we are
OT.
Very likely getting overtime overseas there. How about Kansas City and Denver? Chiefs are laying 7 and a hook. Total's 42.5. I'm on Mahomes over 1.5 passing touchdowns at a plus price. Had to bet it there. I think Kelsey's into the end zone in this game for the first time this season at home. I think I'm also... No, I don't. I lean Denver because it's a cheap game. I don't know. I lean Denver. No matter what happens, I'll be proud I said I lean Denver.
I like Kansas City. I think it's a replication of what we saw on the road in Baltimore. Big physical offensive defensive lines favor the Chiefs. The Denver Broncos have only beaten teams with worse offenses than them in passing attacks. That's not Pat Mahomes and what you saw in terms of Monday night. I think it's a double-digit win. Do lean to the under, though, because I think that Denver will look to run the football, shorten the game, and keep Mahomes on the sidelines, especially with Bo Nix on the road. Back-to-back road games, that's a concern. Did alt Xavier Worthy drop the touchdown pass on Monday night? I went back to him. Him and A.D. Mitchell, Texas wideouts. I put him in a parlay today.
I think the bottom fell out last week for Denver, at least when you're trying to, measure up and go for a measuring stick type game. And I see that same thing today, but I'm with Kevin on that 7.5. I don't love that, but I do think I like that 42.5, 41.5 to the over. I think the Chiefs' offense will be working well, and I don't think Bo Nix is going to slow it down. He's a gunslinger by nature, both good and bad. Cortland Sutton, by the way, on the outside, I think he has a chance to have a decent day coming from behind.
All right, how about we get Falcons Saints on the board? We didn't spend a lot of time on this one earlier with Atlanta laying 3.5 here. Saints fire Dennis Allen. Are they extra fired up then for the game, Joe?
I think they are from the spread perspective, plus 3.5. Still not sold in terms of Raheem Morris in Atlanta, big picture. I'll take a shot with the interim staff, Darren Rizzi. They're rejuvenated. Derek Carr back in that lineup. The divisional game, we've seen these games go very close, back and forth. I'll take a shot. Give me Saints and the under, guys.
The only question I have on this game is who is going to get knocked out because Derek Carr throws another medicine ball / hospital ball for them today. If I'm looking at the Saints, they have no wide receivers today. What is it going to be, Taysom Hill? So bet in any time Taysom Hill touchdown today because that's the only offense along with Alvin Kamara that they have. Atlanta's going places. New Orleans is going home. I can't take New Orleans any way, shape, or form with the 3.5, so I'll take Atlanta.
I think it is very interesting, just the way this is all unraveled for the Saints here. I am not sure how they salvage any of this. That line, though, and I let you do this more so, that line to me screams New Orleans. You would think you would have to pay a lot more to get Atlanta in this spot, I would think. I mean, the Saints just lost to the Carolina Panthers. I am not looking to aggressively attack that game in any way. Let me update this. We'll fly through the rest of our games here today. But it looks like the New York Giants have won the coin toss, minus 162 on that money line. Maybe for the first time we don't just watch a team march down and score a touchdown, Donnie?
Yes, correct. I think we're getting at least a possession from the other team in this one, no doubt about it.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. We'll see if Bryce Young can actually live up to expectations and seal it before Daniel Jones gets the ball back. Dead wrong in terms of overtime. Should have taken the number.
Plus 550. I don't know. The more you think about it, that was a pretty bizarre.
Sure, don't listen to me. I'm not always right.
But it's just, all they needed was a field goal, plenty of time.
Yep.
Like the bigger
defense.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little surprising. Giants number keeps coming up, minus 200 here. I don't know. Now I kind of fully expect I think the Giants will like 3 and out, more so than drive down there and get a touchdown. I would be pretty surprised if they went all the way down and made that happen. We'll see what they're able to do. Still plenty of great games to break down. The return of Christian McCaffrey. What does Cooper Rush have in store for Philly? Jets, Cardinals, and then a awesome one between Pittsburgh and Washington. All still here to come on Pro Football Today.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Don?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take the room.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orgy as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Three and out would have been the best case scenario for the Giants. First play fumble, and Carolina is immediately in field goal territory. And for those who are out there with parlays, Bryce Young needed a little bit more to help people get to some yardage. Well, they're going to have to turn it over themselves now. What a nasty, nasty game we
Tracy,
had here.
too. I mean, the guy is basically their best player at this point now, just drops it on the ground and hands it to Carolina. But by the way, I like to say this, though. Giants backers, you have to love that being a fan.
Yep.
You don't want to win football games. You want to get rid of Daniel Jones and your head coach and your general manager. That is the best case scenario.
Yeah. I think he's right. I do.
Holding it like a loaf of bread, as they say. You can't do that. Secure it.
All right, let's get to Tampa Bay and San Francisco here, fellas, because CMC is back, and the closer we get, I think we get a big CMC game. Lean towards Tampa Bay at home. Not my favorite spot in the world. I do think McCaffrey, I don't know how you want to play it, though, because the numbers are very expensive, but I am expecting McCaffrey to have closer to a normal workload.
I played McCaffrey in the receiving game. 27.5 was his regular number. I altered it to 40+. I think he can get through that number, especially first game back. They don't want to give him a bunch of carries. I think it's in the passing attack that he has multiple touches. That being said, I like Tampa Bay with the 6.5, and I lean to the under 50.5. You're getting 2 points of discount from 48.5, the opening line now, because McCaffrey's in there. I think it's a lower scoring game. I think Tampa realizes they can't go toe-to-toe in terms of shootouts all the time. They'll throw it, but more of a controlled passing attack today. You like Trey Palmer through the 15.5, Donnie?
Yeah, again, the 6.5 just screams San Francisco. It's such a crazy number for San Francisco coming in on the road as if McCaffrey is the MVP and they've been rolling all season long, which they haven't. Like the gumption that I saw for Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday. But if I'm just betting this game and I want the Buccaneers, I'm not taking a 6.5. Just give me Baker Mayfield's overpassing number. If he doesn't hit that, they're not coming close in this football game. He's got to sling it.
Yeah, we'll see if that's what he's able to do here. Again, it's one Tampa Bay certainly could use an upset in. They could have used it Monday night. Yeah. They weren't able to close the door. Commander-Steelers, one of the best games on the board, with money seemingly continuously coming in on Pittsburgh. This line down to 1.5 now in favor of the Steelers. Total 45.5. Numbers starting to feel too short here. I get Pittsburgh's off a bye. I'd lean Washington. I love Jaden Daniels over 222.5 passing yards.
That's why I like the Commanders in the matchup. They are undefeated at home. They're 7-2 overall. And again, both teams coming off 3-game winning streaks right now. 13.5 points per game for Washington. I think Zach Ertz gets involved. It is the first time Russell Wilson's making a road start this year. Let's see how he does it. He beat up on the Jets and Giants. Let's see him beat up on the Commanders, who are a better than average home team. I think they get it done. I like the Commanders. Do you think we go through the 44.5, Donnie?
No Brian Robinson in this game. I think that would be a big key if he was there, able to plow through on some of those short yardage gains. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers rested and ready, and Mike Tomlin versus a rookie quarterback. I think it's going to be a great game to watch it play out. I'll take the Steelers.
All right, little love for Pittsburgh there from DRS. How about the Chargers and the Titans? Play this over at 38.5. I really do think we're getting a low number here with the Chargers offense that is only getting better, a Chargers defense that is still a little bit banged up, and a Titans team who I think can do enough on this number, a 7.5-point dog. They can hang around, but if they do so, it's because Will Levis provided a little bit of juice in this one.
You might get me in on the total, but it's sweep the leg. Remember Karate Kid? This is L.A. They're the better team. They're playing, stepped up against Jameis Winston and shut down that offense. From a defensive perspective, we saw Quentin Johnson get involved. 100 yards. Josh Palmer's the guy today. Look for him to blow through his number, but I am on Will Levis to potentially break over 200 today, guys.
J.K. Dobbins, anytime touchdown. Love it in this game. I think I have multiple opportunities from the goal line. I just love Jim Harbaugh in these spots today just to really confuse a quarterback that basically feels like he's still a rookie and playing like a rookie that will gladly give you the football game, and Harbaugh and the boys will take it. I'll take the cover.
All right, little cover there potentially for the Chargers. How about a cover for the Jets? It means they'd get a major win against the Arizona Cardinals on the road. Total here is 45.5. I'm on Kyler Murray over the longest completion of 32.5 yards. I think they'll attack the Jets deep here. I'm expecting a good game from Marvin Harrison Jr. Lean Arizona. Tricky side, though, for me, Joe.
It's a tough game, but I like Arizona. They've won 3 straight. They're running the football consistently. Defense shut down Caleb Williams. I think both quarterbacks potentially could throw for 600 yards in this game. I expect Aaron Rodgers to push tempo. Now that Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams are acclimated, in terms of the passing attack, they push tempo. But Kyler and those wide receivers are stepping up. McBride, Harrison. I like James Conner over the 76.5, but I like Arizona. Love the total today, guys.
Yeah, I think the total makes sense, 45.5. Also love Aaron Rodgers, but if I'm just looking for 2 touchdown props in this game, I'm going both wide receivers. Give me Garrett Wilson and give me Devontae Adams, both plus money. At least a worst-case scenario for me, guys. One of those guys cashes in, which puts extra money in your pocket.
Excited to watch that one play out there. I know you guys feel it could have some juice. How about Dallas and Philly? The Birds are laying 7.5 against Cooper Rush. Total's 43.5. I'll continue to go in depth, but I love the over in this game. I think Rush can do enough here against an Eagles defense that could perhaps show up a little less than on 10 due to the fact it's not Dak Prescott. We've seen teams do that before. This Eagles offense with A.J. Brown is one of the very, very best in football, and A.J.'s out there today. I expect plenty from Hurts and the group.
Yeah, I think they win, but I'll take the 7 with Dallas somehow, somewhere. I think they make it competitive, and to Cooper Rush being a veteran, I look for the secondary options like Jalen Tolbert to step up. 27.5 is his number. I like him better than CD for value. If you're going to alt, I'm going to alt Jalen Tolbert through his number, but I do like the under 43.5, up 2 points, because I think Dallas will look to run it to keep Hurts on the sidelines.
Yeah, Cooper Rush over 205.5 passing yards, I think makes some sense, because I do think they will be trailing in this game. But also, it's a really hard handicap for me, because if I can trust in the Eagles that they're all completely healthy, this really should be a meltdown game where they blast the Dallas Cowboys. But I just have that reservation with Thursday on deck. How full force are they? And also, can these guys continue to stay healthy throughout this game? Eagles win this one. I'm just not comfortable in the cover.
All right, we'll see if that's how it plays out. We do have Sunday Night Football here. We do have best bets for everybody. We have anytime touchdown scorers as well. We will get to Lions-Texans, a field goal and a half favorite for the red-hot Detroit Lions. The Texans likely will be welcoming back Nico Collins. Is it enough? It's a big-time total as well at 49.5. But quickly, before we hit the break, C.J. Stroud's partner from the NFL Draft, Bryce Young, gets it done again. The Panthers,
some are saying he's
2
better.
in a row. Giants fall to 2-8. We'll be right back here. It's Pro Football Today.
together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orji as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's make it happen here. Pro Football Today. Kevin Walsh, Donnie Rightside, and Joe Lisi. We begin with the Sunday Nighter in Houston. Texans, Lion. Field goal and a half line here. Total is 49 and a hook. I'm on Houston, catching the 3.5. C.J. Stroud in line for a big game at home. The Texans have not lost at home just yet, and I think they can hang here with Detroit, whose defense enters banged up, as well as Taylor Decker likely missing this game. I think Houston, with Nico Collins, I'm expecting back in the fold, offensively hangs with one of the NFL's best.
I could see it, and they're running into a hot team. Detroit has won 6 straight by 18 points per game, but that game against the New York Jets, where that offense was inconsistent, playing at home in primetime, bounce-back spot, I expect Dalton Schultz to be a main factor of this offense. You altered him through his total 50, 60 plus tonight, Donnie.
Not for me. I'm going with the Detroit Lions. I think they're the better football team overall. And how about this? Bobby Slowick versus Mr. Johnson over there on the other side. I mean, this could be who's getting the jobs and the primo jobs that they want. Could be points tonight, but yeah, the points are coming from the Detroit Lions. It's a smash fest on Sunday night.
Let me just open my third eye. I love this over, and I like the Texans even more. Slowick's the man. Nobody talks enough about that. Slowick with the move.
S-L-O-W.
Shall we best bet it, people? I mean, come on now. There's plenty of sizzles out there in the mix. And, Lisi, it's total time for you.
It is. I'm not going the 1 o'clock window. I'm going to the 4 o'clock window. We saw Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams score in the Thursday night game. Also saw Garrett Wilson and the passing attack take over in the second half of that matchup. I think it'll carry over in this game in Arizona. Arizona's a red-hot team, have won 3 straight, but Kyler can chuck it as well. Love Marvin Harrison getting involved. Points, baby. 50, 60, shootout at the OK Corral.
Maybe a pick 6 there for the Jets to add to that list. But let's not get too many pick 6s here because we need some offensive help here, and it's Aaron Rodgers. Did you know, gentlemen, 4 of his last 5 games, he's thrown for at least 1 touchdown, at least 2 touchdown passes or more. That's going to happen once again today. I started this season by saying you need to be involved in every single Arizona Cardinals game, whether you like them or not. The props should be there. Today, the props are there. Aaron Rodgers over 1.5 touchdown passes at a very modest price of minus 114. I think he throws multiple today, maybe as high as a 4-pack, Joe.
Ooh, how about that?
Wow.
If it was necessary for me to finish off this SGP building scenario, I do think James Conner hits the end zone in that game. But I go to the Philadelphia Eagles-Dallas Cowboys game, and I played over 43.5. Cooper Rush in 5 games last year, 2 years ago, filling in for Dak, scored 20-plus in 4 of the 5 with 17 in the low game. I think he can do enough here against this Eagles defense where the offense will continue to shine with a fully healthy group. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts, Saquon, injured, rest. It does not matter. The boys shine in Dallas with a big opportunity. I love the over 43.5 there. Now let's try and find the end zone. Lisi, where are you going?
Taysom Hill was up all night last night watching the Holy War, and BYU remain undefeated. No offensive weapons for Darren Rizzi. He's got Taysom Hill plus 190. A little Wildcat touchdown at plus 190.
That's what I like about that play, too, because Taysom Hill does come in when they're at the 5-yard line, and he ain't coming in to hand that football off. I think he's going to get a touchdown. I like that. But also, how about the heel turn for your boy DRS? Montgomery. woo, 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 woo. Jahmyr Gibbs the past couple weeks. Let's get after it again today. Minus 125, because why? Detroit's got what? Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5 touchdowns in him tonight going against Houston. He's getting 1.
Out of curiosity.
Yeah.
How many times do you think over 50% of your best touchdowns bets have been a Lion this season?
Could be.
I think it has to. Like,
I don't know. Montgomery,
I
Gibbs,
think you've done Gibbs
and
twice.
they're all nailing him.
I know a Montgomery's come in.
Yeah.
I mean, between, like, there's been an Amra, there's been a Laporta. They just continuously make it happen.
Beautiful.
Today, I think Travis Kelce makes it happen at plus 140. I mentioned that Mahomes over 1.5 passing touchdowns is one of my favorite bets on the board at plus money. But at plus 140, I'd prefer Kelce if you made me pick between the two. I mentioned Saquon last week. Hadn't scored at home in front of the Link. Kelce still hasn't scored in Arrowhead this season. First drive touchdown, Travis
Swift
Kelce.
is there today, so you're coming in?
As she should be.
Yeah.
And get her on the screen more.
Yeah.
I've been trying to say.
Halftime performance?
They don't. Now, listen.
For the home crowd?
They don't have enough coin for that, though, quite frankly. You want to talk about a sellout? Like, if they were ever hurting for fans, which are not at Arrowhead, you put Taylor at the break there, my, oh, my. That would sell out in a major way. Lisi, any thoughts on Kelce today?
No, I don't.
He's only in on his own place. He can't ask him that.
No, he might hit.
No, hit me with a straight up. I don't like it.
Not that I don't like it. I would
full 3 hours out of you today.
Ask him the wide receiver he likes on Kansas City.
Who do you like? Kansas?
Xavier Worthy.
Oh, first time this season you like Xavier Worthy. Scrape him up, get him out of here, and we'll see you Monday night.
Are they definitely done with Daniel Jones from this point? And any shot that Dable is off the sidelines, meaning he gets fired before next season?
They have a general manager in Joe Shane. Every big move has to get approval by ownership. So, look, the bottom line is they don't know who their future quarterback is past this season. Tommy DeVito's clearly not the answer. They don't have it. Drew Lock's not the answer.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orji as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.